Good evening and cheers to wherever you are in the world right now. In the UK, it's 8:30 p.m. in the evening. So no matter where you are, welcome. So today's topic is another great topic for business owners. And if you just so happen to be a business owner, you are in the right place. Whether you're watching me live, whether you're watching me on the replay. And today's topic is, I'm going to reveal to you in a moment, but it's a real good one. And it's one that a lot of business owners are trying to crack the code to. And it's how to create a webinar presentation structure that gets you more clients fast. So I'm going to be coming back to the specific content of what I'm going to share with you today. But first of all, before I kick off, I just want to say, if this is the first time watching me on YouTube, please do make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Click on the subscribe button and then smash the notification bell to be notified of all the new videos. I believe there's some in the region of about 85 videos on the channel that you can check out that cover many different aspects of how to grow your business and what it takes to be, I guess, the number one in your business that you can be and take your business to the next level. So today's topic, how to create a webinar presentation structure. If you're watching this on Facebook, remember to give me the thumbs up and give me a heart as well if you're feeling it. And if you're really enjoying it, make sure you drop your questions and comments below the video. So let me get into this with you. If you do have any questions specifically around webinars, I will come back to them if you drop them in a comment below. So let's move forward. As I said, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Now, let me get into this. Now, I don't know if you're an expert yourself, you who is watching right now on webinars. Either you've attended a webinar or you've heard of a webinar. But what I do know is a lot of people get mixed up around what a webinar is and how it can help your business. And some people don't even know that these things exist. And this is totally alien to them. But I'm going to show you a way, if you've never come across a webinar, how to sell in your business. And especially in the current situation that we're in, to use and leverage going online with your business and with your marketing, specifically to attract people to the point where they feel like you and they are in the same room and you're speaking to them and giving them some amazing information that can help them with the problem that your products and services help them to fix. So whether you've heard of them, it's basically a tool that you can use to help deliver a web seminar. So, if you've been to a workshop or a webinar, a seminar in person, a webinar is simply you doing that same presentation, but online. And most of the time, they're delivered over PowerPoint, and you usually get a little web camera of the person delivering, or not, just them speaking over the PowerPoint presentation. They've been popularized over the years by marketers, and now they are a firm favorite with business owners who want to attract more prospects and close more sales online. So let's look at some of the steps, because I guess most people get mixed up with, well, what do you need to consider around a webinar? But before I get into the structure, what I'm going to do is just give you two key steps that you need to be aware of. So the first is technology. A lot of people think, well, how do you deliver a seminar or web seminar, webinar online? It's very simple. You have a laptop or computer with internet, which usually has a microphone on the laptop. And if you want to get a bit more professional microphone, you can. The one I'm broadcasting on today just so happens to be a bit more of a professional mic. It's a Rode Podcaster. Then you need your slides, your PowerPoint presentation or Google Slides, which you can get pretty much free with Google. You create your presentation. Remember, I'm going to give you the structure in a moment of what you need to include in your presentation. You need a web camera if you're going to be live with your face on the camera. You don't have to be, it's optional. And then you need some software. And usually the software, the ones that I recommend and use, I guess, lately are Zoom. They have some great software for running webinars, and Webinar Jam. And they're both paid products. They're not free. So if you are running a webinar, you will need to check out the prices for those. And finally, you'll need some type of squeeze page software so that you can accept registrations, people to register and attend your webinar. Some of the webinar softwares that I mentioned, they do come with their own squeeze pages. That means you can use a link that they give you to get people to register for your webinar, and that's it. So that's the technology. That's the easy steps that you need to know. And which one? So which structure? Did you even know that there are different types of webinar structures? Well, there are, and I guess the key thing from my perspective that I want you guys to know is that when it comes to attracting clients, the main thing for me is that you want to focus on a lead generation webinar, whereas some people get confused and some people get mixed up. Good evening, Magdalena. Thank you for your support, Kanya. So let's look at some of the webinar types. You've got the thought leadership webinar, which is just for positioning. So there's no real drive here for you to, get leads or get prospects or get sales immediately. You got the product demo webinar where you're just literally demonstrating a product, potentially just to show people without any sale. You've got the customer onboarding training webinar. So it's not really a webinar in the sense of selling. This is where you've already sold. You have the new feature product tutorial webinar. So again, this I would class as more training. And I found these online and I was looking at all these different sources and I thought, let me just throw them in there. Me personally, I'd call it a training video, not a webinar. You got the on-demand webinar, and the on-demand webinar goes hand in hand with live webinars. So when you get to the point where you're delivering great live webinars, you then start looking at delivering on-demand webinars where you don't have to turn up live every time. And because you've developed enough skill, your webinar structure is really good and you've proven the numbers in terms of conversion rates, you can then move to a more evergreen approach, which is the on-demand webinar. And then the one that I want to speak about today for all you business owners out there who want to get more clients right now, especially in the after effects of the coronavirus, the apparent second wave and all this other stuff that's going on. Where do business owners turn? Today I was actually reading an article, BBC Business. Disney in America, Disney resorts are going to let go of 28,000 employees from their resort parks. 28,000 employees. Do you know how disruptive that is going to be for families throughout America? And, there's going to be a lot of people who they're not going to know where to turn. And perhaps there are business owners who supply, Disney as well. And there's going to be knock-on effects and so on and so forth. And this has been ongoing, obviously, for the past 6 to 7 months now. And then I also saw another big company announcing some more redundancies coming up that they've earmarked, and now they've added more to what they already earmarked, And for me, it just goes to show, and I think it was a bank actually, the second one that I was speaking about, just goes to show that the importance of being able to generate leads and move people from being a lead to a prospect and getting clients faster is more critical now for small business owners than ever. So I'm going to speak to you now about lead nurturing webinar. So let's have a look at the outline structure. And this is where most people kind of get it wrong. And I'm going to give you some insights. And I guess for anybody, watching, you're working on your webinar right now, Magdalena. Yes. So for most people watching, like I said, if you're watching this live or you watch this back on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. If you are watching it on the replay, give me a hashtag live if you're watching me live. But the point I want to get to here is the outline structure for your webinar. Before I even get into that, there's a lot of people who get mixed up and they think a webinar is you delivering training and showing people your best stuff and showing them how great you are. I'm here to tell you, if you do that, you're probably going to fail, and I'll explain why. So a webinar is not your opportunity to start teaching people your best stuff. And I'll tell you why. Because most people who come across you for the first time, which is what tends to happen when you run a webinar, most people tend to run them live. So that means you've got a date set and a time. And usually you're going to go out to attract, a lot of people to attend. And usually those people are going to be new to meeting you. So what makes you think just because you've got the best training in the world, these people are going to pay attention to you and they don't know you? And this is the trouble that you have with a lot of people who deliver webinars, especially to cold audiences for the first time, maybe for the 10th time, for the 20th time, because it still hasn't hit home yet where they're going wrong. And the thing is, the job of a webinar is like this. Imagine you were on a planet, a different planet where there was no coronavirus and there was no social distancing and you could meet people face to face. So imagine you're in this world and you had the opportunity to speak to a group of people who perhaps you could help, But first of all, before they listen, you've got to do the normal human being thing, which is to introduce yourself, build up some rapport, and get these people to actually, pay attention to you and want to find out more. But what happens is people, business owners, they make the big mistake of thinking, you know what? I'm just going to start training these people from the very start. And can you imagine what that would be like if you went into this, you're on this different planet, and you met this group of people and you just started training these people like, who the heck is this person? Why should we listen to him? And they start walking out the room. Well, that's what happens on these webinars where people start training. They think, let me give my best stuff. But the mistake of that is people start leaving your webinar. And you're either clueless as to what's going on, or you're banging your head up against the wall trying to figure out, well, why didn't that work? That was the very best stuff. It was the stuff that's made my other clients 100,000, a million, whatever it is, right? But the thing is, your webinar is there for you to psychologically appeal to the pain that your target audience is going through. So that means you've got to build up rapport. You've got to show them that you have either been in their shoes before so they can, relate to you, or you've got clients who've been in their shoes that you can use to do the very same thing, to say, hey, I know what I'm speaking about because my clients have been where you have been before, and I'm going to show you how to go from where you are to where you want to be. And in essence, that's what your webinar is all about. It's to show people and demonstrate your method. And I'm setting that up so people understand, because this is where the majority of webinars go wrong. They overcompensate with the most training, the best stuff, the best tips. And the reason why I know this is because I used to do it myself. Yeah. So I'm no stranger from this. And, I guess when the penny finally dropped, I can honestly tell you, I thought to myself, oh shit, like all this time I've been delivering training thinking I'm giving my best stuff, and I had no clue where I was going wrong. So I'm hoping that when you get these steps that I'm going to share with you in a moment, guys, that you'll be able to at least deliver something half as better than I was delivering before. Yeah. And you're probably going to do something that 200% better than mine. So anyway, let's move forward. So I guess you guys are probably eager to see what these steps are. So I'm going to make myself small, and then I'm going to jump into these steps. So the key steps to the right structure is, the first thing is the title. You've got to create a hook. And most of the time when you're putting a webinar together, if your hook, the headline, isn't good and it doesn't have, I guess, the attention grabbing headline, that you want people to respond to, you won't get the registrations in the first place. And even in this day and age, if you're advertising on places like Facebook, on YouTube, even if you're doing this stuff organically, you're on LinkedIn, wherever, yeah, it's more and more difficult to get amongst the noise. And I shared this tip the other day, which is, and it's not really a tip, it's more of a fact, which is, over the past, I believe it's 7 to 8 years, human attention span has literally gone from 12 seconds down to 8 seconds. Yeah. And this research was done by Microsoft, and you can find it on one of their websites if you look for human attention span in Google, Microsoft, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, the point that I want to get to is, people right now, whilst there are more people online, their attention span is less than ever. And if you imagine, most people these days are, they're on Facebook, they're on Google, all these different different platforms on their mobiles. Mostly, most people are on a mobile. And I believe the time that it takes for somebody to scroll down their page is 1.7 seconds. So not only are you faced with the fact that people have only got an 8-second attention span, if whatever you put out on an ad doesn't attract people with your ad, with the right hook, with the right type of title, headline, yeah, you're going to miss them in 1.7 seconds, never mind them getting to your landing page. And this is the challenge that people, business owners, face. And so you really do have to think about, what is the headline that you're going to create that appeals to the pain that your target audience are going through. And most of the time, the best place to start, a real great foundation for a headline, starts with how to. Ergo, today's presentation training that I'm giving you guys right now is how to create the right webinar structure. And I've used that just to kind of simplify my headline, because whenever you use the words how to, it signifies some type of solution that will follow. So the second part of your structure is once you're actually, in or at the position where you're looking at your PowerPoint presentation and the content, you need to have an overview in there. You need to have an overview to tell the audience what it is that you're going to be looking at and what's in it for them, why your webinar is different to everything else that they've probably come across before. And in this day and age, webinars aren't something new. They've been, really hammered home for the past 5 years, but they've been around for, much longer, over 10 years plus. In the online format, I mean, webinars in terms of seminars have been around for, since the dawn of the dinosaurs. But webinars, they've been around so long, everybody knows them. So you need to make sure that you don't underestimate your audience as well. Don't just think, oh, because they've registered, they've never been on a webinar, or treat them with respect, because most people have. But really start to focus on why this is different, what's in it for them, and why they should stay until the end. Like, what are you going to teach them, and explain. You're going to help them to shift from where they are, the pain, to where they want to be. And you don't want to deliver it in those words. You actually want to know where they are, and you want to know where they want to be. And that will come down to doing your own niche research, customer research, and knowing your target audience. So the third step is your introduction. And usually, as part of your overview and introduction, it's going to last somewhere between 10, maximum 15 minutes. You really don't want to go too long here with the overview and introduction. It really needs to be around 10 minutes. If it's shorter, amazing. And you can do it shorter, especially if you've got lots of social proof. When you have a lot of social proof, testimonials, screenshots, great results, you really don't have to sell the introduction too much. You just have to really get them to understand, where they are, where they want to be, and you're going to take them on a journey during this webinar. So using some type of story, it can be your own story, it can be stories of clients, case studies. It can be, if you don't, particularly have any great stories, you can use other people's stories to get across your point, to kind of prove what it is that you're about to train them on or teach them on actually is valid and they should pay attention. Social proof, I tend to use as well, like statistics in the introduction. And so I'll use statistics from, for instance, like government-backed statistics, research like that, because people pay attention to those types of stats, especially in relation to small business owners. So I tend to get a lot of my research around that. I'll also look at some independent companies. Hootsuite do a lot of statistics around social media, internet marketing. And then there's a few other companies who just specialize in statistics, that you can get online. And usually they'll give you nice graphs and data and that kind of stuff that you can use. And the reason for using statistics, it's a way to brand yourself by association. And then when people see that you use statistics, they actually think, oh, you must be clever because you're using statistics that are backed by somebody who's done, proper work. So there's a quick tip, guys. So the fourth step is the training. Now, the training part, this is the biggie that I mentioned earlier. So when it comes to your webinar, you aren't actually training people on your best stuff or taking them through on, I guess your most advanced stuff. What you're actually doing here is training people in a way that shows why your method is the thing that they should pay attention to. And it's very simple, guys. Like, and don't get me wrong here, you can throw some little bits of training in between, some tips and some things they can take away. But the whole point of the training segment of your webinar is to train the audience on why your particular method, your way of working, is the thing that they should pay attention to. Because once you do that, you move people from general information seeking to, oh, I can only get this method from you because you're telling me about your unique or your specific approach to the problem that they have. And this is the big thing right here, guys. And I'm just going to zoom out a bit, so I zoom in. The way that you do it, and I'm going to give you a very simple structure because it's a bit more advanced than this, and there is a way that you can get help if you want to learn the advanced way, but I'm going to give you the very simple structure. In your training, you may have seen it, my 3 secrets or the 3 truths or my 10 steps or whatever the training is. And we've all seen it, right? That's nothing new. But the key if you want to deliver with integrity and move people so that they really buy into your unique method, aka unique mechanism, so that's the technical term in marketing, you have to show them the mistake they're making, the secret they're missing, and the truth. And usually the truth is your way. And when you deliver the training, it's a repetition of all three. And like I said, there's a few more steps to it, but honestly, that's the simple breakdown of how you deliver a webinar, the training segment, and you blow your audience away. Whereas most people think, let me just show people how to fix the problem they have. And it doesn't work. And that's where you don't get people to buy your offer or to take up your offer at the end, because they think, I'm going to go and try that training you've just given me, and I'll come back to you if it doesn't work. And what happens is these people go away. And remember, within 8 seconds, they forgot what they were doing because their attention span's gone. They never come back to you, right? So, hopefully I've emphasized step 4 a little bit enough for you guys to take that home. Step 5. So once you've delivered the training segment, remember the training segment is to train them on why your method is the method they should pay attention to. Yeah? You getting that? You move to the transition. So the transition step in the right webinar structure is where you transition the audience from, well, you've learned the method, you've seen the evidence, you've seen the mistakes you made, the secret that you've discovered from me, but now the truth of what you need to be doing, because now I've showed you the right way to think, to act, whatever it is that you showed them, that surely at this point, this is the transition, guys, you want some further help. Yeah. And the transition is very quick. It can literally take 60 seconds to 2 minutes max. Yeah. And the point here is you're transitioning people from, they've got a whole bunch of value in the training. And it is important when you share your method that, you share the mistake, the secret, and the truth, because people will get value from that, because they will see the mistake they're making. And that's a really important step. And then from there, the transition, you're going to go to the offer. Now, when it comes to the offer, guys, I don't want to undersell this, but the offer in itself is a piece of work. And I kid you not, creating an offer is probably one of the most underused and overlooked things that business owners do in their business. Coaches, consultants, service-based business owners, experts, authors, speakers, they all miss this part. Yeah. And I have a method called the NBI offer. And it simply stands for the no-brainer irresistible offer. Yeah. And if you can create a no-brainer irresistible offer, by the time you've come from the transition and you've presented what this offer is, it should come across to the point where these people want to bite your hand off for whatever it is that you're offering. So it could be that you offer, it could be like an online course. It could be some kind of coaching program. It could be some service, some professional service that you offer. It could even be to book yourself on for an exclusive discovery call or strategy call, whatever it is that you do in your business, aka a sales call, but some type of, I guess, information seeking call. And, a lot of business owners, they'll get to the point where they've delivered the training and they think, you know what, I don't really want to come across salesy, so I won't really put too much effort into what the offer is. And, that's a real big mistake. And I'll explain why. When you don't put the attention and consideration into what the offer is, and have a guess who did that before? And I'm sharing all of this, guys, because I've learned the hard way, where I'm saving you. If I'd have known this stuff years ago, boy, I'd have saved myself a lot of money and time. But when it comes to putting together an offer that is a no-brainer, irresistible offer, you need to have answered objections. You need to understand risk reversal. You need to understand benefits. You need to understand intrinsic benefits, emotional benefits. You need to understand future pacing, ownership. Like, there are so many different aspects that go into the offer. But because most business owners say, I don't want to be salesy on my webinar, I don't want people to think I'm selling or I have something to give them. But what happens is it acts in the opposite way you probably think if you've thought that way before, because people then see that you have no conviction, belief, or courage in your product or service. So when you've given, let's say, a great training, you've explained your method, and then you've really delivered a weak offer, That's why people go cold on you, because people can see through it. And so for me, if you have an offer, no matter what product or service you have, there's always a way to make that product or service sensationalized, sexy, attractive. And that's where most people go wrong. They think their products sell themselves, but your products and your offers are two separate things, guys. So hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to move into step 7. So when you've delivered this killer offer and you presented what it is, you presented all of the details, what's included, the benefits, the features, the risk reversal, all of the premiums or bonuses, if you've got any in there. You've showed the testimonials, the case studies, this mini social proof along the way to kind of verify that your offer is the bee's nuts, or the bee's knees. And it's at this point you simply close, which is, you're going to move into a place of, if you've got a limited number of places, if you've got a limited number of places for calls. So if you are offering some type of discovery call, you're going to you haven't got all the hours in the day, so you probably can only open up your calendar for so many calls. If you've got like an online course, perhaps the online course is supported by some live calls, so therefore you can't have thousands of people on there, though you'd like to. You might want to leave it a bit more exclusive and say you got space for 12 people, for instance, like a group coaching program, whatever it is. But you move to the close, and the close is where you're using the kind of timeliness, why people should act now, and also scarcity, if there are a limited number of options, places, or whatever it is you're offering. And you encourage people to take up the offer, because after the webinar, where you've warmed them up so they know you, like you, and possibly trust you, you're going to move them to the next stage where you can support them, where they either buy the thing that you're offering, or they book in for a call, so that you can then have that follow-up sales call with them. So what comes after step 7 in your webinar? Very simple, guys. Q&A. And the Q&A, again, the Q&A is not your opportunity to answer every question because you think that you forgot to do some more training. Your Q&A is very structured, and it should all be around any objections that people have as to why they haven't taken up your offer. There may be a few things that people ask you in relation to the training, but remember, a lot of it is going to be asking questions because they want to know more about the offer, i.e., there's a few questions that are outstanding, which are basically objections. And once you answer them, that's going to give those people, the ones who want to take up your offer, all the reason to either buy the offer if it's an online course, or to book in for a call if you've got some type of call that you've organized with your webinar. But that, in essence, is the key 8 steps for a webinar structure that will allow you to get clients faster. And hopefully, this is something that you guys can use to take your lead generation, to the next level. Because at the end of the day, getting people to register for a webinar is a way to generate leads, but getting people to take up the offer is a way to get sales and prospects. And I'm guessing if you've watched this today, that's what you want in your business. You want more sales and prospects, and you follow those steps, and that's what can take you to the next level. So what have I got next? Well, it's very simple, guys. If you watch what I've just presented, you're thinking, well, those 8 steps, I get it, Leon, that makes sense to me. And you might have even had a light bulb moment. I'm hoping you have, because I know for sure those 8 steps, if I had it broken down for me in that way, I'd have probably, made a lot faster progress if I had that in my toolbox and in my back pocket. So if you want help, guys, very simple. I've got a business accelerator workshop series coming up. It kicks off on the 14th of October. And included in that are 4 masterclass workshops that I'm delivering, including how to create your perfect webinar, and so that you can attract more, or actually close more sales and attract more prospects. And so it is included in this business accelerator workshop series. If you're interested, remember I said it's 4 workshops, and they from the 14th, 21st, 28th, and then I think it's 4th of November. And each workshop will last about 3 hours. They will be delivered live on Zoom. There will be a break in between. So we'll probably do like an hour and 20 minutes or hour and 15 minutes, something like that. There'll be a break, comfort break, get some food, and then we'll be right back at it. And you'll have the opportunity to ask me questions and get your own webinar put together. Now, like I said, there's 3 other masterclasses. I'm not going to go into those tonight, but if you do want some help around creating a webinar so that you can close more people and you can deliver, here's a really interesting thing as well, guys. I see a lot of people who are great at presenting, speakers, trainers, that stuff, and they can never get it right when it comes to webinars, because a webinar is not how you would speak at a keynote event. It's not how you would deliver a workshop training. And that's why what I've shared with you in these 8 steps today is so different to what most people really think a webinar is. It isn't just standing up or virtually standing up in front of your laptop and presenting. Yeah, it's following the 8 steps that I've given you, plus all of the psychological triggers that move people over the line and get them to actually take up your offer. And so, if that's you, you're thinking, well, I don't know the ins and outs of webinar, I want to learn, drop me a message. If you're watching this on YouTube, drop a comment below the video. If you're watching this on Facebook, just drop me a message. I'm the only one that exists, the only Leon Street. So, it's not hard to find me. I'm online. So finally, guys, thank you for watching. If this is the first time you've watched me on YouTube, remember to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell to be notified of all of this new great content and videos. And if you're watching this on Facebook, remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because all of my stuff's there and more. There's some exclusive interviews, there's some extra trainings. I've got 2 1-hour masterclass trainings over on YouTube as well. You can get them free. Just go to my channel, scroll right to the bottom, and you'll see a playlist for all my free trainings. They last at least 60 minutes. So, there's just much more value, guys. Finally, guys, like I said, if you haven't, just make sure you subscribe. Go to leonstreet.com/YouTube. That will take you to the subscribe link, and you will be presented with a pop-up button. You just hit subscribe on YouTube, and that's it, guys. So I'll be back next Sunday, 8:30 a.m. and I'll be back here next Wednesday as well, 8:30 p.m. Remember, Wednesdays are all about marketing, sales, business growth, and Sundays are all about what it takes to be the best business owner that you can be, which is, all of the challenges, the emotions, the psychology, being a parent, being responsible, having ownership, all of those things that come in between to ensure that you go to that next level. So I'm here to support you guys. Thanks for watching tonight. It's been a pleasure, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.